Hey guys, last but not least, we are now covering the last of the Endgame DLC maps, which is Caesar Railroad. So I've been covering the DLC maps one by one, really showing the layout of the maps and how they're structured. Hopefully it will help people who are yet to pick up Endgame, or maybe are just considering it. As always, I've put together a mix of Rush, Conquest and the new Capture the Flag mode, so we can really get a feel for how the map plays on all game modes. Now I have to say first of all, this is probably my least favourite of all the four DLC maps for Endgame. I like the map on Capture the Flag, and I think it works well on that mode due to the railroad being quite linear, and a number of well-placed ramps along the railroad as well, making Capture the Flag quite exciting and fun, and especially when using the dirt bikes. But overall, on Conquest, I don't really like the feel of the map. It feels very simple, and it doesn't really feel to me like it has any standout elements that are worth note. It's obviously centered around a railroad which runs through the center of the map, and there are certain parts of the map which are really cool, but I don't have a huge urge to play this map at all like I do some of the other DLC maps. It doesn't really have that cool feeling some of the other maps for me have. Now Capture the Flag is the standout mode for this map in my opinion. I think simply because the railroad is works well for Capture the Flag. The center element of that railroad works well with bikes zooming to and fro with the flags. There are hills to one side and road and water to the other side, so flanking is possible to a certain extent. Something worth noting is that the map, and I think this applies to most of the endgame maps, have no conventional mobile AAs, and also no jets. They do, however, have the new Humvee AA vehicles, which have rockets mounted on the top, but their range is nowhere near as dramatic as the fully fledged AAs. So choppers do have a freer reign for the most part, but it does then put the onus back on the soldiers to start equipping anti-air weapons to combat that. The one thing that this map does have, which I briefly mentioned earlier, it's fairly hilly. There are many height adjustments and dips and hills, so that means there are more hiding places and covering spots to utilise for all the game modes. It also means that ramping a dirt bike is far more entertaining because you're just filled with jumps wherever you go. Then you've got a huge dip under the bridge as well, so you just have a lot of elements that do make it more exciting when you're on, for instance, dirt bikes, especially on Capture the Flag. Now I know I said that this map was best on Capture the Flag, but it's worth noting that the Rush side of things hold up quite well as well. I feel as though in my opinion it's best suited for Rush and Capture the Flag. Now we know Capture the Flag is good on this map in my opinion. Rush does hold up fairly well to it as well. I think it's Conquest that's the weakest element on this, so that's just how it feels to me. Conquest just doesn't... I don't enjoy Conquest playing on this map, whereas if I've got Capture the Flag and we're having to make a dash across, or we've got Rush which is quite well spaced out on this map, I think I enjoy that more. I think with this being the last of the maps shown as well, I think it's worth me just saying that overall the DLC maps have all been very well done. I think Endgame has been a massive success in my own opinion, and I think the new maps have been very polished and offered a lot of new gameplay elements. Obviously partly in thanks to the new game mode of Capture the Flag, but also due to the nature of the maps and the addition of the dirt bikes. I think as time has gone on with Battlefield 3 and we've seen these new DLCs coming out, I think one of the things that stood out for me is just the graphical elements of the maps. They have improved no end, and the last few DLCs have been breathtaking in parts, really with what DICE has managed to achieve with their maps. I think in the last DLC, Aftermath, was amazing. I think the overall art direction and structure of the maps was brilliant, but before that, Alborz Mountain, I think that was the best map I've ever seen in any game. I think it just looked incredible. You go on the bridge toward the spawn, you can just hear the creaking. You can go on the ice, you can hear the ice cracking, and it's snowing, and it's just a phenomenal experience to play that. We should also take time out to say, well, this is the end. This is Endgame, this is the last DLC for Battlefield 3. There are going to be no more maps for Battlefield 3 unless they throw some surprise at us. And Battlefield 3 is still going to be a very popular game, just because there's not going to be another DLC for a while, that isn't going to, halt or prevent people from playing the game, because it is an amazing game. But we are now starting to have one eye on the future, and we're starting to look forward to Battlefield 4 as well. Battlefield 4 is etched in for, let's say, March 2014. So we're looking at a year from now. We'll be playing the next iteration of Battlefield 4, and we'll be talking about the DLCs we're expecting from that game instead. But I think we've got to look back and say, overall, I think Battlefield 3 was a huge success. It's an amazing game. The DLCs that DICE have put out have progressively got better and better, and I think overall we're all very happy. So that concludes a look at the DLC maps for Endgame. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, like and subscribe, and as always, I'll catch you on the next one.